What's up? Is my audio working? I think it is. Good, what do I say? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is Justin. I'm Justin, and you're at one of my open house sessions. So it's open house time, and missed last week. Had some work stuff come up. I apologize. I'll get these consistent at some point. Just it seems like something's always coming up, but the past week or so, well, let me wrap up on the past live streams we were doing. I was going through Zurich store app release notes, kind of catching that up. I'm all caught up there. I haven't released an episode on it yet, but Zurich did publish last week. General availability went live last week, Wednesday or Thursday, I believe. So there was another big spike in applications, not as bad, like 300-ish. So I'm working through those. Hopefully get a video out today, or not today, tomorrow or Friday, showing that second release. It should have come out yesterday, but we'll have the ServiceNow store highlights later this week. But last week, I got one of the things that I got distracted with work is an account that is using or implementing third-party risk management, which is one I know pretty well. And while I was in there, I noticed that there were lots of features, enhancements to the application for Zurich. So like last Friday, I flipped the property over to migrate. I upgraded all of the applications for third-party risk management, and then didn't see what I expected, and then went and changed the property, which we'll go through here in a second, in order to get the third-party risk management application to use the smart assessment engine. And if you've seen the channel before, live streams or videos, I'm a big fan of the new smart assessment engine as compared to the legacy or classic assessment engine. It's still, a bunch of weird tables and stuff like that on the back end, but the UI is just better. It's improved UI, and we'll go through. We might even create another questionnaire as part of this. I know I've done that on a previous live stream, but the smart assessment engine itself was upgraded with Zurich, which was the release notes I was pulling up as I started the live stream. So that's kind of on the agenda for today. I do have, as promised, the last live stream, looking at the wrong video, my hot chili chocolate or dark chocolate. And so we're going to try this at some point today. I want to get into the stream at least a good 10 to 15 minutes before you watch me eat. But this was the last one I have left of the stack of food. And this wasn't given me. I actually went to the store and bought this. So Jerry Long had given me a bunch of stuff from the UK. This is actually from like a grocery chain here called the Fresh Market, and I'm sure you can buy these like at Walgreens or anywhere that Lind chocolate is sold. But we'll get to that in a little bit, not right now. So let's talk third-party risk, and I'd like to level set what third-party risk management is in ServiceNow. It is part of the governance, risk, and compliance, aka integrated risk management application within ServiceNow. And it is an application to manage and respond to, mitigate the risks associated with your third parties or your vendors. This used to be called vendor risk management before it was renamed. Oh, got one coming in from Conrad. Yeah, definitely no plans to melt the chocolate today. So yeah, thanks, Conrad. So third-party risk management, formerly vendor risk management, is essentially about making sure you understand the the risks that your vendors or your third parties and their third parties, right? So fourth parties might pose to your organization. So that can involve things like, you know, asking business stakeholders what they're using the vendor for, what the purpose is. Are they going to have access to data? Are they going to be on, you know, on site and presenting risks in that way? And then if once you determine what kind of vendor they are, then you can use the application to do a full due diligence for that vendor. And that might include a standard information gathering questionnaire or custom questionnaires based on what kind of risk you're trying to assess. And then that will come back to be reviewed. And then that vendor, or in some cases, or in almost all cases, the engagements with that vendor can have a risk rating associated with them. You can raise issues, you can assign tasks to the vendor, to internal people to manage and mitigate that risk, or do a risk acceptance process if that's part of your flow there. So, but we're going to focus on the Zurich release, and that's what I've got up in front of me. I won't spend a lot of time on the release notes. I just want to give you a heads up on. So this was published part of early access, I believe. I actually didn't click on it to make sure it was then, but it was last up. Wait, actually, I could see it was last updated on July 30th, 2025, which was when the early access. Let me change the pen color. That one, yeah. I call it the rainbow pen color, but this pen color just changes colors every time I use it, which I really like. So this was the last updated on July 30th. I got everything updated last Friday. Spent some time over the weekend playing with it. Did a couple of demos earlier this week. ServiceNow is going to tell you the big highlights here are the smart assessment engine, which I've already mentioned, to use questionnaire templates to perform internal and external assessments. I'll explain more here in a second on the difference between internal and external. Sorry, my lunch is like not staying down. Go down, lunch. Use the enhanced digital resilience third-party information register features in the vendor management workspace. I don't even know what that is. So if we have time, we'll see if we can play with that. I don't have digital resilience anything installed, I don't believe. But we can check on that. It is available from the store, which they're calling your attention to right there. And then this warning here, there's a property you need to set to migrate to the smart assessment engine. And once you set this property, you cannot go back. There is no backwards path. Once you've moved over and migrated, you are now on the smart assessment engine. You can't go back to the legacy assessments. So like a good service provider, ServiceNow is warning you, make sure you test this in sub-production before you go forward. Or watch a live stream by a guy named Justin so you don't have to do it at all and you can see what's new there and if you want to do it. But I mean, if you do it, make sure you do it in sub-production first. So let's get to what is new. Actually, I didn't see for existing TPRM customers after upgrading to version 21.0.3, the industry column, data from the industry column in the company core table is automatically migrated to the TPRM industry column. That can take several hours depending on the number of records in the core company table. And then you'll get a system log message about that migration. Okay, so that's interesting. Didn't know that. So there is that new property, SN underscore VDR, stands for vendor, risk underscore assessment or ASMT dot SAE, which is smart assessment engine underscore enabled property. And that's what we're going to set, or I did set to true. Then you have smart assessments in third-party risk management, which let's just see if we can summarize here of why we want to use smart assessment engine. Enhanced, it actually is a better UI. That's coming from Justin. A better UI. They say enhanced navigation, but I think the UI is better. Assessment support, organize questions, add attachments, add reference information, filter questions, autosave for questionnaires, which is a really nice feature. Standardized risk rating scale definition. We'll get to the smart assessment release notes here in a second, but there's some significant changes around scoring and normalization. Assessment duration, combined assessments, bulk template, migration, risk score normalization, which I just mentioned, and support for the GRC and third-party portals, which we're going to cover the third-party portal, hopefully in this live stream. Some UI changes. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of renaming. So this is a big release to me because it's some terminology transition from the old vendor risk management product to this new third-party risk management, and they're doing away with the concept, the terminology of tiering your vendors. It's still going to happen. You're going to do internal assessments. You're just not going to call them tiering assessments, but you're essentially tiering that vendor, putting them on a tier, TIER, in order to understand which due diligence questionnaires are going to be sent to that vendor for that third party. So essentially, you're tiering. We're just not calling it tiering anymore. ServiceNow is not. So those assessments and third-party assessments are now renamed as external assessments. The tiering assessments are now internal assessments. The tier level column is now renamed a risk rating. The tiering assessors column is now renamed as respondents. And the owner field is renamed as assigned to on the internal assessment, external assessment, tiering assessment, and due diligence request forms. This is interesting because we're going away from this, but they're still using it in the description. But in the vendor management workspace, the assessment setup section has been added, so I'll show that. That's a new in the list view. The questionnaire request section has also been added in the same place, and the tiering assessments and inherent risk questionnaires, or IRQs, are combined in the internal assessment section. And the internal assessment pages, the tier scales have been renamed scales, and the tiering assessment schedule and schedules are combined and renamed as assessment schedule. Changes made to assessments related lists. Assessment instances is renamed as questionnaire requests. Document requests is renamed as document templates. Fourth party questionnaires is renamed as fourth party templates. And oh, by the way, there is something in here in the warning section about fourth parties. Let's see, where did I see that? Here we go. As part of the ongoing integrations, the Smart Assessment Engine fourth party assessments will not be supported after you migrate by flipping that property that I mentioned earlier. Okay. What else was there about fourth parties? Oh, that was related lists. Repeating assessments is now renamed as assessment scheduling. Smart assessment integration, there's a smart assessment engine column added to the internal external assessment list views. The assessment engine field has been added to related forms. The support smart assessment column has been added to the assessment templates, and the original TPRM classification field has been replaced with purpose field on all assessment templates. And then here's the stuff I'm not familiar with. The changes made to digital resilience third-party information register, contracts in the vendor management workspace. We'll just see if it's there for us. The general info related list is now renamed details, and the following related lists have been added, and that is entity signing contract, entities making use of services, providing services, third party signing contract, to provide services, third-party engagement, signing contract, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And then this new Coral theme, which is like all over the Zurich release notes for a lot of the applications, that there's a fresh look and feel featuring brand neutral illustrations to enhance your user experience. And a dark theme is available. I don't even know if the Coral theme is active. We can maybe mess around with that. I usually say this at the beginning. If you got a comment, or you got a question, or you want me to double click or underline something, or you have a point to make and I missed something, but go ahead and drop a comment. LinkedIn, YouTube, I'll see it. I'll highlight it like I did Conrad's earlier about my melty chocolate. And we're almost in time for the melty chocolate. Let's get through these release notes here real quick. Smart Assessment Engine. Release notes, collaboration and enhancement, or in assessments. So you can add people and see their presence and interact with them on assessments. This kind of threw me off because I went in as one user into an assessment, and I was able to complete the assessment, but there's no submit button and it's auto save. There's no save button. I was like, what the heck is going on? What am I doing wrong? and I wasn't the user who was assigned to the assessment. But it doesn't really tell you that. It just does, the button isn't there, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. I can't move this forward. I can't progress it. So I think it might have to do with this collaboration piece, allow more than one person to be in there and collaborate on the assessment. There's also normalization in assessments. So you can adjust the scores from the assessment to a common scale so that you have fair comparison when you're comparing scores. Creating code questions. Okay, what is this? Capture data quickly and accurately from physical documents using a new barcode and QR code question type for assessments. By scanning barcodes or entering QR codes, the system can instantly retrieve and input relevant information. Okay, that deserves playing around with, maybe in a separate live stream. And then creating an assessment template from legacy metric types and UI changes, template category field. Okay, so not as big of a deal on smart assessment. I think the takeaway here is third-party risk management integration with smart assessment engine. That's the big takeaway. So I'm in the vendor management workspace, which is the third-party risk management workspace, still called vendor management workspace. And if you have the ITSM vendor management enabled, you would see two tabs here at the top. You'd see risk, and then you'd see, oh shoot, I don't even know what it was called. Risk. I have another instance here. Let's see. Do I have vendor? I don't even have vendor installed in that one, so I can't show you. I did have it at one point, but it's the ITSM vendor management application. Let's just take a look at application manager real quick. And this menuing over the past week has been so freaking slow. I wish I knew what was wrong. No matter what I click on, I got to sit here and wait. I remember talking about this in a live stream before, and Jace sent me a link, and I don't even know what I did with it, but come on, menu. Actually, this would be a good time. While we wait on this, it's time for the chili dark chocolate from Lindt. It's infused with spicy red chili. The fun part about these chocolate bars is getting the damn package open. They have this little like rounded corner. I eat these chocolates, quite regularly. I mean, not like all the time, but regularly enough to be familiar with the annoying packaging. And okay, John, Lindt chocolate. Oh, let me highlight your quote there. The best. Grab some water first. That one should have a little kick. I've got a little bit of water here. I've got fiber water. Don't ask. And I've got tea. So I should be covered. I'll probably go for the tea depending on how spicy this is. Thank you, John. Totally good to see you on the live streams. Okay, there we go. Opening it up. John's right. Lindt chocolates are actually really good. I have never tried the spicy one before. I think I referenced in a previous stream, there's a local chocolate company where I live called French Broad Chocolate Factory, and they have a spicy one that I remember trying, and it was pretty delicious. So that is a spicy dark chocolate from Lindt. I also have some cherries in case I need some fruit, but anyways, it's left over from lunch. Okay, it smells like chocolate. Doesn't smell spicy. It's not sweet, even though there's 14 sugars in it. Well, okay, it's a little sweet. Oh, there it is. The spice hits like right here. Thank you, John. Good point about the water. It's not terribly spicy. It's a very subtle, takes a minute to feel it spicy. I bet if I did another bite, I'd probably feel it quicker. But definitely good. I actually enjoyed that. That was definitely good. Okay, I was trying to delay to let this menu come up, and obviously it's not. So let's do a refresh on my entire browser and then try. Okay, there we go. So let's go into application manager. Oh, got a smiley face from Conrad. Yes, Conrad. Yeah, it's. I definitely recommend Conrad. You should buy this and try it. I know you're a fan of dark chocolate. Definitely try it. Okay, let's just search for vendor. Maybe we'll see the application I'm talking about. There is the workspace. You got to put that in place, separate from third-party risk management, performance analytics, of course. I'm not even seeing the ITSM version. Let's look here. And installed ServiceNow add-ins, vendor risk management there's a workspace, SIG questionnaire. ITSM Enterprise UI components, but that's not what I was thinking. IT Service Management. Yeah, that's not going to help me at all. 200. I don't have time to go through all that. I thought it was under vendor. Vendor risk management workspace, SIG questionnaire. Yeah, I thought there was another application for ITSM. Um, I'm pretty positive, so I'm just going to go down this rabbit hole really quickly. Let's check out IT service management. I'm on the doc site for ServiceNow, and I'm looking for, well, there's the vendor management workspace. And what can we do in the vendor management workspace? Okay, so the KPI groups, yeah, so this is like the number of incidents, the breached SLAs, stuff like that for vendor management success indicators, I guess they call it. Okay, I thought I had all this installed though, so I'm curious that I'm not seeing it in in my uh, in my workspace. But anyways, that was the vendor management workspace, and there, if I have the KRIs or KPIs set up for IT service management, it would show up as a different tab. That was my whole point. Now, let's talk about this property. If you don't know how to get to system properties, I'm going to show you how to do that here. I'm just going to highlight this and Command C or Control C if you're on Windows. And I'm just going to go to the All menu, type in sys underscore properties.list or properties.list. It'll take you to the list view of the sys underscore properties table. And then that value that we copied, I'm just going to paste it into the name, and we'll see that property here. And if we open it up, it is in a different application. So let's switch to third-party risk management. And we'll see all that unlock. And we can see that this is the smart assessment engine enabled. Notice they have formatting in here. That's interesting. You will not be able to change the setting back once it's set to true. So warning, warning. Danger, Will Robinson. Third-party risk management does not have smart assessment enabled if it's unchecked and a smart assessment engine is enabled for third-party risk management. Now I'm wondering that check versus unchecked. I wonder if there's a there we go with the menu again. Come on. I wonder if there is a module for third-party risk management properties. Let's check it out. That might be a faster way to get there for those of you that don't you memorize table names like me, like I do, like I do. So here's the properties. Yes, there it is. Smart assessment and oh my face is in the way. Smart assessment engine enabled. You will not be able to. So that's why the formatting in that property setting. And then if you check or uncheck this, and I've already checked it, so I shouldn't. Well, it's letting me uncheck it. Probably won't let me save it. Let's see what else is in here while we're here. Organization name. Oh, well, we've got to definitely change that. Do I want to change that? Actually, no. I use this for customer demos, so I don't want to put Justin's house on there. Excel cell text delimiter is set to a what is that? A new line character. Maximum Excel file size is 4 megs or 4 megabytes. Maximum age for reusing responses 720. That's actually an important distinction. That's 2 years. 365 times 2 is 120. That's 820. Calculator. 720 divided by 365 is 1.97 years of responses. And essentially, if someone's completing a response or completing an assessment, they have an option to copy previous responses if you give them that option to copy previous responses. And allow assessors to answer/edit questionnaires for third-party contacts. So those are the different settings. But the one you want to change is this property right here, or the one I showed on the property listing here, SAE underscore enabled. Once you set that to true, you can't go back. So keep that in mind. Now, let's check out what that looks like for this smart assessment engine. And I'm going to show you what that looks like by, let's just start full throttle. We'll go through the whole process. Let's open up Employee Center. So for those of you that aren't familiar with that third-party risk management, Employee Center is the business-facing part of ServiceNow, right? So if you are like wanting to request due diligence on a vendor, you would come here possibly. Click on risk and compliance, possibly, if that's how you have it organized. And you'd click on the request third-party risk due diligence record producer or catalog item. And then you start completing the questionnaire. So first up, it's going to ask, what's the purpose of your request? Are we going to onboard a new engagement? Are we going to reassess an existing engagement or one for a contract renewal? Or are we going to offboard an engagement with or without due diligence? We're going to stick with the easy case here, onboard new engagement. We can select the third party. If the third party doesn't exist, we can create the third party by checking that box, and we can put all the information in. That might follow a whole different path, but we're not doing a third-party risk demo. So let's choose Adobe Systems because I know they have some good demo data. And then for the engagement, since we're onboarding a new engagement, which we said here, onboard a new engagement, we got to provide the engagement details here in the engagement information section. For purposes of demo, I only have to provide a name and type. So let's call this demo for YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm streaming on both. And the type is going to be software. And the user who will respond to the initial inherent risk questionnaire, IRQ questionnaire, but the questionnaire is redundant because it's part of the queue. I'm going to put system administrator because that's who I'm logged in as, and I don't want to have to impersonate anybody. But obviously, that would probably be somebody else, or you may not even give them a chance to select it because your process has a certain person who does that. One of the companies I'm working with, God, I've done like 2 or 3 of these in the past 6 months. One of the companies I'm working with, it's fully automated, right? There's no third-party risk manager coming in here and doing anything. So the engagement address, if it was different than the third-party address, so like this one's in San Jose, California, but maybe they're here with me in Asheville, North Carolina, but they're not. So we'll say it same as third-party address. Third-party primary contact, that's their information. I can't really change it. And then if there's a different contact for the engagement, I could put it here. We'll just do same as third-party primary contact. Hit submit, and that request, thank you, Google. I'm good on the address memorization. And we'll hop back into our workspace and navigate to that due diligence request. So all open due diligence requests, and I should see somewhere here, demo for YouTube and LinkedIn on Adobe Systems. Oh, I just noticed there's some numbering wonkiness here. So I need to go change my number maintenance on that table. What table is this? Oh, due diligence request. I'm going to go fix that really quick. So this is a fun part about a live stream. I get to go wherever I want. So we're going to go to number maintenance in the platform maintenance, and I'm going to find that due diligence table and fix that really quick. Due diligence requests. Ooh. Due. We'll do star due. I know the prefix, there it is. Third party due diligence request. So it's starting at 1,000. What's the counter at? The counter is at show counter 1,008. So let's make this 2,000. And that should fix my numbering. Let's go back to vendor management. Do I have any two? Yeah, so I'm only in the thousands. So next time I do a due diligence request, it'll start in the 2000s and I won't have any repeats. All right, enough of a diversion. Let's open up this demo for YouTube and LinkedIn. We'll hide the attachments window, which I thought I had turned on the setting to not show this stupid thing. Look at me going on down these rabbit holes. Workspace, show the sidebar. No, don't show the sidebar. It drives me nuts. All right, let's try that again. Demo for YouTube and LinkedIn. Oh, did the sidebar again. Ah, okay, set it. Do I need to save or something? List view. Go back here. Okay, that's pissing me off. I don't want to impersonate. Preferences. Workspace. Don't show the sidebar. Lazy load workspace page. What is this? Lazy loading improves page performance by loading content dynamically as needed. You can. Oh yeah, I hate that. Expand activity stream items by default. Okay, I just want this to save. I don't see a save button. Okay, anyways, that's not why we're here. Okay, so I've got the third-party due diligence request. I'll remind you, well, we did this on the form, but if you needed to change who is going to get these assessments, you can do that here. I have it set to system administrator, the same person who actually opened the request. And we're going to move this forward and start onboarding. And when it start onboarding, using this button in the upper right-hand side, that is going to initiate the what is now called internal assessments. So this used to be tiering assessments. So we'll go ahead and start onboarding. And now I have a record for the internal assessment. You can see it's in a draft state. So again, we're assuming the third-party risk manager is coming in here and setting it all up. And notice there are no templates associated with it. So I don't have any questionnaire templates. And this is where I would add my smart assessment engine templates. And I have two. I have the demo one that ServiceNow provides, and I have one that I created for an insurance company. And I'm going to add them both to my internal assessment record. So the key takeaway here for you, if you're not familiar with this, is that I can have multiple types of questionnaires. So maybe my vendor is an IT vendor and I want to understand their SOC compliance or their NIST compliance, or fill in the blank, whatever else. Or I need to know about confidential data, stuff like that, versus the landscaper who is never going to touch a computer. And I might ask different questions about the landscaper or the plumber who comes on site to fix the plumbing. So you can have as many of these as you want. I'm going to go ahead and add them to this internal assessment. And the key thing, I'm going to hit the save button up here at the top so that I can see my submit button. So now I've associated the questionnaires with it, and now I could submit that. But let's take a road less traveled and head over to the assessment workspace real quick. What do these assessments actually look like when you configure them is what I want to show you right now. So those were demo IRQ questionnaires. So this was the default out of the box questionnaire for IRQ. What does it want me to be in? Third-party risk due diligence. That is green tea, hot green tea. That's good. Okay, so the questions for this one, there's the reference section where we can say what information do we want to display about the record that's being assessed on the right-hand side when the person is taking the assessment. So that's what this is. We covered this in the Smart Assessment Engine live stream. Their basic information was how many employees, what's the number of employees is the question, and if they want a number response, that was there. So I was like, I need a little bit more than that to demo to a customer. I've lost my home button in the workspace. Attention ServiceNow, can we get this fixed? This is driving me nuts. Refresh a couple of times. There should be there should be a whole like bluish menu. Why can't you see? Shoot. I have screwed up. Go away menu. And let me fix this guy here. Oh, it's not letting me pull it down. Okay, that's fine. We got to get our menu back. Let's go somewhere else. Vendor management workspace. There's my menu. Now let's go back to assessment workspace. Still no menu. I haven't had this happen. Okay, there it is. Okay, there's my home button. The second one was what I created. So I copied their questionnaire and made a new one and then just added in some additional questions. I did two sections. I left the number of employees question I add is sensitive data part of this engagement. We gave them a choice of yes or no. Will the vendor be on site? And I gave them a choice of on site, remote, or both. And then the section 2, just to show that we could group questions, provided additional information. Now, this is a published questionnaire. If before I had published it, I wanted to enable scoring, I could have turned that on. And then each of these questions could have had, scoring enabled on them. We'll do that if we have time here in a second. We did it in the previous live stream, but the scoring is what's different in Smart Assessment Engine in Zurich. There's the normalization component that's been added. So this is where you come in and build them out, is inside the assessment workspace. So let's head back to vendor management workspace. We're still on the questionnaire, demo IRQ questionnaire. Let's go ahead and submit it. Submitting it means we're going to submit it to the user who needs to complete it. And so both of these has been sent to the assessor, system administrator. the way you could get to it is clicking on the request for the questionnaire or for the assessment and then going to it this way. But that's usually not how it's typically done. Usually the person doing the assessment is somebody else. And so we'll pretend like we're somebody else and we'll just go to our tasks here in the left-hand side. So let's take a look at what I'm pointing at. If you look at that in my pen, this little check mark on the left-hand side is the tasks button for the workspace. So let's head over to tasks and we should see internal risk assessments as an option. Now, these are new. External risk assessment and internal risk assessment is part of that rewording we saw in the release notes when we took a look at that at the beginning. So let's go and open that internal assessments. And we can see for Adobe Systems and the demo for YouTube and LinkedIn, there is an internal assessment, INA 0001007. And that assessment is going to have inside of it the two requests. Now, when we go to the overview of this internal assessment, we can see right away those assessment instances. We don't have to go into the questionnaire requests. We can just stay on this. If we want to see some details, we still can, but the risk overview will take us there. So let's do them in order. We'll do 10 before 11. This should be the ServiceNow out of the box one, and this one should be the one that I did after that. So there it is, the number of employees. Let's have fun with this. Enter a number between 0 and 1,000. Let's see, what's a fun number between 0 and 1,000? 314. Oh, that's as much as pi as I know. 314. Is it 75? 314759? But I can't go that high. So 3147. Is that pi? 31. I can't. What is pi? What is the number pi? 2 3 digits. 3.1. What? Oh. I didn't put pi in there. I was like, what? Pi to 3 digits, 3.14159, not 759, Justin. 3.14159. So 3141 is going to be our response. And this is the nice UI part of this that I was mentioning earlier. So what I can see on the left-hand side is like how I progress through that assessment. When we get to the standard information gathering, core or light, you'll see there's a lot more going on there on the left-hand side. And then, as I mentioned before, I can see information about the vendor and the scope, which would be the engagement for this particular vendor over here on the right-hand side. So I don't have to go open another record as I'm completing the assessments. And then you might remember from the release notes for Smart Assessment Engine, there was the collaboration component. So now I've got this little comments button and I can write comments. This is a comment. And I can post my comment. Can I at somebody? Let's do at Abraham Lincoln. Yes, I can. So there's Abraham Lincoln. Forgot I changed his photo. At Abraham Lincoln, can you help me with this assessment? Question mark. And post that. And then potentially Abraham Lincoln would receive an email. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny? And then let's see, contributors. I can add somebody else now to this assessment. So let's go ahead and add old Abraham Lincoln. So he doesn't have permission. So I can comment with him, but he doesn't have permission with the third-party risk management app. So let's add Able Tutor to this. And now Able Tutor can come in and do this too. I wonder if that changes the assign to. No, it doesn't. Okay. So this button just opens up the right-hand panel, apparently. So if I close the right-hand panel, there we go, and click View Details, it opens it up. Okay, very nice. All right, so I put in my number 3141, and we'll go ahead and submit that. I do get the modal confirming that I have reviewed my answers, and I understand I may no longer be able to edit the answers after submitting. We'll check that. Submit. It's successfully submitted. So we're good with that particular one. We should see the status update, and it did, behind my head, from open to completed. And now we can take our second assessment. I'll leave my head where it is. This is number 11. Again, this is the one that I created based on the one you saw. So I added 2 sections. I got section 1 and section 2, and just a couple of different types of questions. One, I wanted to show that autosave feature. So must be between 0 and 1,000. Well, the last one I did 3141, didn't I? 314? 34. Let's go 314. Pi is 3.14. Notice it changed it, saved it. So 2 things happened. One, it updated my progression through the assessment. Nice feature there. It also updated this to who last updated it. So if I was collaborating with Able Tutor and he was making changes, I'd be able to see that when he last made that change. I believe also I'd see him up here. Let's test that real quick. Let's test that. I'm going to log in as Able Tutor in another browser. I almost said my instance name out loud. So let me get logged in here. It's going to take me just a second. Admin, and then I got to find Bitwarden with my password. That's the wrong dev instance. I just want to see this collaboration feature. I think that might be worth showing to everybody. Paste my password. Why can't I paste my password? Oh, Siri, go away. I hate Siri. You're worthless. You never should have been made. Maybe it'll be better when you're powered by ChatGPT or whatever, OpenAI. Okay, now I need my authenticator. God, the security is ridiculous around this PDI. Dev1 is my verification code 047331. Verified. Okay, I'm logged in. Let's impersonate. So you can see what I'm doing now. Let's impersonate Able Tutor. Impersonate. There's Able Tutor. And we'll jump into that same questionnaire. I wonder if it actually show in his tasks because we added him as a contributor. It's an internal assessment. Okay, so it's not showing in his tasks. That's good to know. Is it showing group tasks? Nope, it's not showing there. So let's go open the third-party due diligence request. All open. And we were doing the demo for YouTube and LinkedIn. And then we should see internal assessments. There's the internal assessment. And then we should see number 11, which is what we're on in our other screen. And now we're both on the same assessment. Interestingly, it is all read-only for me. And that is not what I expected. So let's come out of this over here. I've got it on my other screen now. I don't see his presence on the questionnaire, so that's interesting. Can I know I can reassign. I don't want to reassign, but we did add him as a contributor. Oh, I didn't add him as a contributor to this assessment. Okay, that's fine. Let's add Able Tutor. Contributors, done. Okay, there it lit it up. Now I see Able Tutor's head showing at the top there. So that's the present indicator they're referring to in the Smart Assessment release notes. And similarly, I can see my own headshot in his version of the assessment, but his is still all read only. So let's give this let's go back out of it and come back into it now that he's a contributor and see, does it let me edit? Yes. All right. So let's do side by side. I want to see what this looks like. We'll go right on that one and left on this one. Okay, so I got two instances, Able on the left. No, Justin on the right, Justin on the left, Able on the right. And I'm going to, as Able, I'm going to answer, is sensitive data part of this engagement? We'll say yes. And then just, okay, cool. So for Able, he sees last responded by me, and for Justin, he sees answered. So that's pretty nifty. And this may not seem like a big deal if you're not familiar with this application. Just trust me, it's a big deal. When I show you the next due diligence questionnaire, this is going to be epic, right? Because now I can have probably a couple people inside of an assessment completing it, and some of these assessments are pretty intense. I don't know how many you've had to complete in your lifetime. I've had to do a few, and they are no picnic, as I should probably say. Is somebody on LinkedIn trying to say something? No, nobody's trying to say anything. Okay. So now that we got that, let's just make that bigger again and lift that up. And can we fix this now? Yes, I can fix this now. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's finish filling this out. Will the vendor be on-site or remote? We'll say both because it's 2025, baby. And we'll put in some text around additional information. This is a demo. What do you expect? And we'll just move off that. It'll save it. Now everything's saved, and then I can submit it. Now, let's go back to section 1, and let's change our answer from both to nothing. So now that question is unanswered. We see that the questions to complete went from 3 to 4, and now our section is showing that we're incomplete. We don't have a nice check marks there. So what I want to show here is, I don't know why my nose is itching all of a sudden. What I want to show is that I can filter this questionnaire by all questions or just show me the unanswered questions. So another a great UI enhancement of making this better for people to fill out. Okay, hit both, and now I can submit. I can also reassign, I can also cancel, and we've already gone through the contributors' capabilities. Let's submit this so you can move on. Again, there's the modal warning that I've reviewed my answers. Hit submit, click OK, and then go back to this. This should update to responses received. So this is the chance for the vendor risk manager to come in and review the internal assessment responses. And we will go ahead and say, yep, everything looks good. Let's close this. So close. And now this is closed, and we can go back to well, we're on the task. So let's go back to our due diligence request under lists, all open. And how about assign to me? That probably is easier. Okay, now demo for YouTube and LinkedIn. Now I'm being prompted to select the appropriate IRQ questionnaire for the IRQ assessor to complete. So let's take a look. Where is the IRQ? Is there a request already generated? Nope, I don't see it there. Internal assessments, this is closed. So why would I select the questionnaire before I start due diligence? Interesting. Or was that just a leftover notification of when yeah, because I did the IRQ. The state is, okay, yeah. This was the IRQ, this internal assessment. So that must have been a leftover banner. I hope that was a leftover banner, because my state is IRQ is in review. We just did the IRQ. I received the responses. I closed it out. So now I need to move it along and send it to the vendor to do the due diligence. And depending on what kind of vendor that IRQ came back with, this one came back with a risk rating of very low, which I didn't set up any of the ratings on my assessment. I should probably take a look at that. But it came back very low, which means we can start the due diligence, which if we were automating this, we might send one or more questionnaires. But let's start the due diligence and see what we get. 2 third-party risk assessments have been created. Please add questionnaires and submit to the third party. Okay, that's what I expect. So we'll close that message box, click on external assessments, and we see, here we go. We have 2 because one applies to the third party itself, and the second applies to the engagement, the demo for YouTube and LinkedIn engagement. And they're both in a draft state, so nothing has gone to the vendor. You're still in control of what's going on. So let's take a look at this third party one first. We see it's draft. We're going to go to, remember, these were renamed as part of Zurich from, I forget what they were, but now they're questionnaire templates and document templates. I think it was document requests and questionnaires is what they were renamed from. We can go look, but not important. That's where we're going to go add that. So under questionnaire templates, let's see what we can add. Ooh, we have lots of stuff. We've got a security risk. So looking at the risk domain or the third-party risk area here in the middle, I've got a security risk one I can include, a compliance risk one. So let's do them all. Demo, external for compliance. Ooh, let's do the SIG core. Let's do the SIG detail and take a look at the SIG light. You know, when you get to this, I had this, like, I think of weird jokes. The SIG detail questionnaire, it is humongous. You'll see it when we go do it. I'm just like picturing the person who was working in like whatever ServiceNow uses for development and picks up the task for recreate the SIG detail 2025 inside a smart assessment engine. Probably went, oh my God, I didn't want this task. I don't want to do this, because it is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions. So we'll add that one. There's no page 2. So let's do an AI vendor risk management assessment. And we got everything we need there. Okay, so we'll add 5 of these for the vendor or the third party to complete. So I've staged all this up, but let's also ask them for some documents. I don't know if there's any templates in here, so we'll find out. Yes, security and financial risk documents. So let's go ahead and request those. We'll add that to the list. And now I've got 2 questionnaire templates and 2 document templates. And I think that's everything I want to do. So let's go close that, save. And I don't want to submit to the third party yet because I don't think I have anybody listed for this third party. So let's go to the vendor. Let's go to the third party, I should say. Who is a third party? Adobe Systems. So let's open up Adobe Systems. What I did is I clicked on the little I button next to the third party name to open their record in the workspace. So now I'm there. Do I have any contacts? Third party contacts? I do. I've got Adobe User A, Adobe User B, and Jan Marrow. So I'll log in as Adobe User A once we submit that. So I feel good about submitting it. So let's come back here. We'll submit to the third party using this big blue button up here at the top. And now something I have never seen before starting this live stream is what Smart Assessment Engine is going to look like for an external user. I have no idea what that's going to look like. So let's, did I hit the button hard enough? It must be thinking. I need thinking music. I should have this queued up. Let's close. Is it doing anything yet? Here, I got some music. Scope or something? What am I doing wrong? Okay. Did it go out? Let's go to here. Yeah, it went out. It went out to Adobe User A. I don't know why this button is still there, though. Okay, so let's impersonate Adobe User A. Click on my name, impersonate user. I think my demo instance is acting up. I'm gonna open up this other instance here. You know, John, that is a great question. Before I impersonate, let's go check out if an email actually went out. So obviously my PDI is not going to send email, but it should be in the logs. So let's go emails. Yep, it did send an email to them, John, and let's see what it looks like. We'll do a preview on it. This is out of the box. I haven't changed anything. Oh, that's ugly. System administrator, admin at example.com, assigned assessment request, demo external questionnaire to you. This request is part of the assessment, third-party risk assessment for onboard engagement request on third-party Adobe systems for ServiceNow. Your responses must be submitted to ServiceNow by 2025, October 17th. And then the little reference message there. So if they reply back to it, we know what to do with it. So yes, John, great question. That is what goes to the third party when that gets sent. So let's try and see what they see now. So let's pretend they clicked on the link in that message. Adobe User A, impersonate user. I don't know what's going on with this session back here. I thought there was a bug on my screen when there's this little red dot. I don't know if you can even see it. You can't even see it. Here it is. It was showing just the red dot below, and I was like, oh, there's a bug. Okay, John Kelly said something else. Oh, the vomit emoji. Yeah, they're just the out-of-the-box notifications. You know what's funny about that, though, John? Every customer that I implement for, I'm like, do you want to send a notification for whatever it is? And they're always like, sure. And I'm like, well, the out-of-the-box notification's there, but we probably want to update it. And they're like, nah, I'll take the out-of-the-box. And then I show them, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, really? Like, as soon as this goes live and someone receives this, they're going to forward it to somebody important, and you're going to have to go change this email. Like, just get out in front of this and change it already. Anyways, on a soapbox. I'm changing, so I got logged in as that user. What I'm having to do is come back into the URL. They don't have access. They're an external users. They cannot get to anything internal. So we're just going to change the URL to be the vendor portal, which I think is SVDP. I always get the D and V mixed up. Yes, I got that right. Okay. So this is what it looks like for the third party when they log in. They have 4 assessments assigned to them. they've got a couple of different engagements. One is the demo for YouTube and LinkedIn engagement. Let's go ahead. Let's do the big assessment first. This is a third-party assessment. And let's see, one questionnaire. This doesn't look like what I expected. I expected to see the assessment names that I picked from that list, and I don't see them. And I don't see anything due by October 17th. So this must be the wrong thing. So let's go into the engagement. Demo for YouTube and LinkedIn. Wah, wah. No assessment available. Where's the assessment I sent? Okay, back here. Let's get rid of this. This sent the assessment. Oh, now we get the impersonate window. That was the demo external questionnaire. So it didn't add all my questionnaires. I added like 5 templates. Oh, look at that. Oh, I totally screwed this up. Okay. Okay, check, and then submit to third party. Did I do this wrong? It only sent the one. Interesting. There's no other options. I can create an issue or task. I can discuss it with people. I can submit to third party. Huh. And the document request did not get submitted. There's still an empty status. So what if I check the box here? I can remove, I can add, I can click the submit button. There's nothing's actually happening. That just did not behave like I was expecting. So I'm disappointed. And we only have 5 minutes left. Okay, so let's, so if we can find that one, 4 assessments. I'm just going to click on one of these. Gen AI. Well, that is one of the ones I selected, the Gen AI sample questionnaire. Okay, let's click on that. Okay. Well, this is cool. This is new as of Yokohama, I think, maybe even earlier. The import from Excel, so you can download the template, go complete it in Excel, and then re-import it. But this looks like the old stuff anyways, but I don't know. Show follow-up only, show unanswered questions only. Oops, sorry. Let's go put that back up. So there's my questions for this one. There are 30 questions. So you can see how it might be helpful to say show unanswered questions only as we work through it. We're not going to have time to do any of the, okay, now it marked it as in progress. It's to see the visibility of somebody else editing it, plus my browser's acting up. Okay, so that's that questionnaire. Let's go into the next one, which was the second one. That's Gen AI, so never mind. Is this Gen AI? That's Gen AI. So yeah, the ones I sent didn't actually send. Okay, that's a fail. We don't have a fail. It's not a live stream unless there's a fail, right? Okay. So that was the vendor side of it. Really what I was trying to show you. I promised I would explain why the person who got the task to the SIG questionnaire would be like, oh my God, why me? What did I do to you? So let's just open it up and see the SIG detail. This is the Third-Party Risk Management External SIG Questionnaire. Standard Information Gathering is what SIG stands for. And here is the details of it. Let's go ahead and get in the right application scope. SIG questionnaire integration. And let's click on questions and you'll see what I was talking about. So this has sections A through V as in Victor. And if I expand these, you can see it is a massive, massive questionnaire. It's the detailed questionnaire. And that's why, you know, number one, the poor person who had to create this. And maybe there's a migration tool from the old assessment to this one. Maybe it wasn't as bad as I think, but do environmental controls include HVAC and humidity controls? Do include heat and smoke detectors and fire suppression? Multiple power feeds for your environmental controls? Do they include multiple communication feeds? You know, it goes on and on and on. They have to fill all this out. So that's why I was making the point on actually seeing 2 people in there at the same time. Like, how cool would that be? And I have 3 whole minutes. I guess can I get to impersonate to come up again. Maybe if I do like I did last time and go somewhere else, it'll pop up. Workspace, vendor management workspace. I really don't know what causes that issue for it to act up like that, but what I was hoping to do was impersonate somebody and then the Adobe user 2 and then have Adobe user 1 in here and us both be an assessment and see if we had that same presence information, but it looks like it's not going to let me do it. But I have 2 minutes left and a blank page in front of me, so let's try to wrap this up. Let me put a better page for the closeout of this. Let's go here. We get the little video game again, and then I should be able to end my impersonation. I'm going to end my impersonation. Vendor management workspace. All right, so when there, that was the Zurich, Justin's version of the Zurich highlights, which was mostly the smart assessment engine integration. I obviously have some homework to do because those questionnaire templates and document templates did not go to the vendor like I expected them to. There might have been some errors or something, and I just didn't see them. But that's what I'm excited about in third-party risk management for Zurich. I'll probably do a standalone video without all the extra chocolate tasting and tea drinking and blank screens and lovely comments from those who were here on the live stream. I should be back here next Wednesday, 1300 or 1 p.m. Eastern, 1700 UTC. I don't think we're due for a time change until November, hopefully. Late October, November, maybe. So that should stay consistent. And if you have a thought on what you'd like to see, whether it's Zurich, whether it's something else, feel free to leave a comment on LinkedIn or on YouTube. It'll send me an alert when you do. I'll go check it out and see if it's something that we can do on one of these live streams. After I get done running my mouth, there'll be a post-roll video, and it'll have a QR code on it that links to all my socials, including LinkedIn and YouTube, plus a bunch of others that I really don't use anymore. But if you want to look for me there. John Kelly wants to see a demo on CIO dashboards. Okay. Yeah, there's lots of CIO dashboards now, even like app by app. There's CIO dashboards. So yeah, definitely could spend a whole live stream going through those. And I have tons of demo data too. So I'll put that on the list, John. CIO dashboards. There'll be a QR code there. That'll take you to socials. And then there's another graphic that'll show for the Null Edge conference in October 17th. That's coming up really soon, less than a month. Actually, it's a month from today, October 17th, being run by Jace Benson. There's some speakers that will be there, people presenting sessions. Chuck Tomasi is one of the keynote speakers, and I think it'll be a great event. It's a Friday morning or afternoon, I can't remember which, but it's a separate, independently run conference for ServiceNow audiences. So that's it. I've run 1 minute over. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. And until next time, don't forget to always be learning.